Right, thanks, Hakimullah. My name is Mason, and I have been working with CEWAS for the past 3 years. Actually, in 2 days, it will be my third year anniversary, so it's been 3 years already. And before that, I was still in the development world, which means that I was in working for NGOs, international development agencies, and basically mostly in climate change programs and projects, focusing on water, a bit on energy, but generally under the green sector. Before I joined CEWAS, the focus is on water and sanitation entrepreneurship, but also linked to other sectors related to water, like agriculture, like energy, solid waste management. So this is what we do at CEWAS, either at our local office in Jordan or globally. We support mainly entrepreneurs, innovations in water and sanitation, other relevant sectors. First of all, it's a shared responsibility. So everybody has to jump in and contribute to the water sector. It doesn't work that only solutions or projects or new plans and strategies come from top to down. Otherwise, it wouldn't have included all types of community needs and contexts. So first of all, everybody has to have a part, either as an individual, as a family, as local communities, societies, NGOs. Everybody should be involved because, as you know already, this is a cross-cutting sector and doesn't work through a single stream. But second, because either in the region here or Jordan in specific or any other country, governmental management of water resources are mostly centralized. Like in Jordan, it is mostly centralized. So the government basically governs all activity related to water management, which is on one side it's good because the history, the experience they built since the 60s till now have helped maintain a healthy water supply and also a healthy water treatment. Is it integrated water management? Partially, but needs a lot of improvement, and there are many gaps that needs to be filled, and most of the time those gaps need to be filled by researchers, but also entrepreneurs, because those young entrepreneurs or researchers or innovators are more on the ground. They feel the pain of water management or mismanagement sometimes, and they can not only create solutions to fix or to fill in some of the gaps, but also introduce business models around it. So our philosophy at CEWAS is, yes, we need to create a great impact when it comes to water management, to water resource conservation, but at the same time we like to see business models around it that have the possibility of generating revenue for those young people themselves. So to create a business around water that solves an environmental problem while at the same time creating income. So this is what we like to think about it.
Okay, thank you so much. What would you say are, you talked about certain gaps which cannot be covered by the government. What are these gaps, and which water-related challenges is the government struggling to tackle, in particular in the case of Jordan?
Yeah, maybe I'll give you one or two examples. One is wastewater treatment. In the Jordanian context, wastewater treatment has been really successful in terms of treating up to 90% of all sewage linked homes or commercial or industries, but in the same time that only covers 60% of the population, meaning that only 60% of the Jordanian population are linked to sewage networks. which leaves around 40% with no treatment or access to treatment. So one of the main gaps is to have decentralized, treatment solutions for local communities, for community clusters that might be, tens or, a couple of hundred of homes, but don't have really the access to wastewater treatment, only because, the financial resources are not enough to cover the whole population. And this is not a problem only for Jordan. It's a problem everywhere in the world. So introducing new, innovative, context adapted, decentralized wastewater treatment is needed, and this is one of the main things. But also on the supply side, I think from World Bank numbers, I think we are around 94, 95% on the water network access, which means that only 5 or 6% of homes are not connected to water supply, which means that they have to bring water from somewhere else. So this is a great number compared to other countries in the region. But still, being connected to the supply networks is one thing, and have sufficient amount of water supply to your home is another thing. We describe the status as there isn't any evident obstacles, but there isn't a lot of support on the other side. So as an entrepreneur, let's say you are a startup of 2 to 3 people who have a water treatment solution or water management solution. You are a tiny fish in a very large sea of sharks. So if you want to let's say apply for government tenders, you'll be just squashed. There is no chance of you getting any of those tenders, even as a subcontractor sometimes. So there's a huge gap in access to government tenders. That's from one side. From the other side, there aren't a lot of programs that are government-led that would support innovation and provide, facilitated grants or facilitated projects for those entrepreneurs. So they are treated like everyone else, especially when they need to register a company, especially when they want to, provide due diligence for implementing a certain project. They're treated like those really big companies, which, makes it really hard for them to access the market. And that's why most of the entrepreneurs that we work with rely mostly on grants coming from development funds and from donors, from UN agencies and so on.
Thank you so much. I think you answered already like half of the next question. Like, would you say the legislative water framework in your country is supportive towards like entrepreneurship?
I mean, we try to find direct linkages between governmental strategies and action plans, and how can that be translated into supporting innovation. Unfortunately, in other sectors like agriculture, you find that linkage deeper. In energy, yes, the link has been established, and there's a huge push for supporting innovation. In the water sector, again, we're still very traditional in the way we do business when it comes to integrated water management. But I think the whole thing, the whole scope, the whole domain is changing very slowly. We're trying to push, although as an organization we haven't been involved in policy, but we also focus on building the capacity of the startups to be able to be big enough to go for governmental projects, and to have maybe at least a supporting role to some of the projects where, for example, supply networks can be monitored by IoT applications, by sensors being installed on various stages around the supply network, so that we can better detect the leaks. We're trying to push for such innovations to be complementary to existing projects, but still very slow to push for growth in the market through supporting entrepreneurs, but that growth is really slow for multiple reasons. One, sometimes the technology research and development in technology takes a long time sometimes to develop the product versus other types of businesses. If you're creating a food product, it might take you 6 months to 1 year, versus water technology or optimization technology that could take you 2, 3, 4 years sometimes to get a product ready for the market. That's one thing. Second is, again, I mentioned before, which is access to projects, access to tenders. Yes, you can be the most innovative startup in Jordan today, but at the end of the day, there are only very few projects that you can implement just because you're not eligible, not because you cannot do the job, because eligibility doesn't allow you. And as an organization that supports startups, we like to see financial growth as well, which means that you have to have sufficient investments injecting into your company, which rarely happens in water and sanitation businesses, at least in Jordan, because they see a very slow growth. Our support to the entrepreneurs, ranges from, understanding the market, to creating a business model, then to access to markets, then investment readiness sometimes, and in certain cases, we do networking and matchmaking with investors. But across the whole support spectrum, we do coaching. So this is our, let's say, core value, that yes, you can present a business model to a startup company and try to tweak it so that it fits the market. But our core value comes from the fact that we are the staff, we are technical people. So we understand the water sector, we understand engineering concepts, we understand, relationship with the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Water, and so on. So this is, I think, the most critical support that we provide, which is, continuous, non-stop kind of coaching. We actually see a huge interest in the sector, water and sanitation, as part of other types of green products and services that are being pushed to the market. Because maybe back in 2015-16, where CEWAS started in Jordan, we barely knew of any other entity that supports water and sanitation programs or any other green entrepreneurship programs. Now, today, 2023, we know at least 6 to 8 organizations that run specific support programs for the green sector, not necessarily water and sanitation only, but embedded as part of their program. So the support is actually going higher in terms of the momentum. The number of people interested in the sector is also increasing to develop water-related solutions. Mention a few. One is strictly water management related, which is a startup called Sylvanian in Jordan, and they implement DWAT system, decentralized wastewater treatment systems, for homes, for mosques, for academic institutions sometimes, and for NGOs. I think they are the most active when it comes to that scale, and that has an innovation component to it. And we have, other, let's say, relevant business models to water, but in agri. So we're talking about, hydroponic systems that, have been increasingly pushing into the market. Not all of them are successful, but at least we have one or two who, decided to go with a different business model, meaning that they don't go and just invest in $100,000 facility to grow lettuce using hydroponic, but rather, trying to benefit families by having small-scale hydroponic systems on the rooftops. On one side, to improve food security. On the other side, to have an aggregation model so that they can, produce more crop in a very, small area. Those are two examples. We have other